G'day and welcome back to Australia's best classic mini YouTube channel. On this episode, I'm going to show you how to shim the diff on your classic mini. So folks, welcome back to the channel. I know it has been quite some time between drinks since we've worked on the Black Mosquito and even the 1330, but this episode I'm going to show you how to shim the diff on a classic mini or Moke gearbox. So this is the diff out of the 1330 gearbox in which I'm currently building, which you will see in a later episode. I've already covered how to do a straight cut gearbox conversion, which we've done on this vehicle, but I don't see the point in rehashing it again and again and again. So you can check those out on my channel and how-to videos. So this one, I'm just gonna do a quick video on how to shim a diff for your classic mini. All right, so to do this job, you're gonna need both end housings that go on either side of the diff. You're gonna need a new set of gaskets, feeling gauges, and a couple of shims. The shims we have spoken about in another episode of Minisport. Now, it is important to make sure that you fit a new gasket to the end housing because each gasket is gonna be of a different thickness. Failure to use the gasket on this is gonna give you an incorrect reading for the correct shim setting for the diff. So what we want to be doing is getting one of the gaskets, fitting it to it, and then we're going to be fitting it to this side of the gearbox. This is the side in which the flywheel sits. So on this side here, we want to be fitting this one first. Now these don't need to be torqued up, but they're only about 6 foot-pound. Once that side is fitted, you then want to fit the other gasket to the other housing. Failure to correctly shim the diff is going to cause catastrophic failure of not only the gearbox casing, but also the differential. Once that's fitted, you can then go and fit it to the other side of the gearbox. Now, before we do that, let's have a quick talk about what we're actually going to be measuring. I'm going to grab the camera and hopefully I can do two things at once. Essentially, what we want to be doing is measuring the clearance, and this is a really good example, between this housing just here and the bearing. Obviously, this isn't the side we're going to be doing. We're going to be shimming this side, so the side where the crown wheel is, which is this gear just here that runs off the pinion, which is inside the gearbox. So what we want to be doing is measuring with a feeler gauge between the surface just here and the bearing. That is going to tell us how much clearance we have, and therefore we're going to be applying some shims in between there to make it a nice snug fit. What we need to do is fit this other side onto here, tighten it up, and then we can start our measurements. As you can see here, I am using brand new bolts, nuts, and washers, and it's a really good idea whenever you're doing a gearbox or an engine, try and reuse whatever bolts you can, but if you want to make it look that a little bit better and just know that the bolts that you've taken out have had their life, replace them with brand new ones. These, of course, are available at Minisport. So once everything's in, we can then push the diff this way, so towards the flywheel side. And the reason why we need to do that is make sure we can ensure that we have enough clearance between this bearing and the housing on this side here. All right, so once it's moved all that way, we can then go ahead and use our feeler gauge to measure between the bearing and the casing just here. So we're then going to grab our feeler gauges and we're going to start at 6 thou, and we are going to measure the tolerance, and I'll grab the camera so you can see, between the bearing and the housing just there. So as you can see, that's moving in and out quite freely. We're then going to go to the next size up, recheck it until we get to the point where it is a nice firm fit, but also we're not forcing it in there. The next one I'm going to do is going to be 12 thou. That one still seems a little bit too loose. I'm going to jump it up to 20 thou. That doesn't feel too bad. It is a little loose in there, so we'll keep going up. I think we'll take it to about 24 thou. Okay, so 24 thou is going to be way too thick. Let's drop it down to 22. Yeah, it probably feels about where we need it to be. 21, maybe 22 thou might be the absolute pinnacle of what we need to be able to shim this correctly. It's going in firm. Feels probably a little bit too firm. If you've ever done any sort of tappet adjustments, or you've watched any of my other videos in which I've done a tappet clearance or even a points gap clearance. You want to make sure that it's a nice snug fit, but also you're not forcing it in there. 21 thou seems pretty good to me. So what we need to do is come up with 21 thous shims in between the bearing and the housing. So after obtaining the correct shim, I've got a 20 thou thickness shim, and that's just a nice snug fit in there. Now they do come in different sizes depending on what you need. You do have to make sure that you use a combination of some, 1, 2, 3, however many you need to make up the right clearance to suit. So once you've obtained the correct thickness shim, which in our case is just going to be a 20 thou shim, we just place it just inside there, and that's a nice, snug, firm fit. That's not too loose, but also it is not too tight as well. That's pretty much the perfect setting in which we need. You can use a multiple of shims depending on how much you need. Once you then have successfully measured that, you then want to be removing this end housing, refitting the shim, and rechecking it. Grab your new shim, fit it to the bearing, refit the housing, get the new bolt and washer, tighten them up. Alright, now we're just going to quickly check it. So I've got a 2 thou shim, which is probably going to be almost impossible to get in there, I'm going to assume. Yeah, sweet. So I can just fit it in there, which isn't too bad. Look, to be honest, that is probably more than enough thickness in which I actually need. If I then push it up to the next available one, which is I think 6 thou, it's probably not going to fit. Yeah, no, so that's going to be forcing it in there. So 20 thou is exactly what I need for this vehicle. Like I said, you can buy a variety of different shims from Minisport in order to obtain the correct measurement and get it set correctly. Failure to do so is going to enable the diff to move too much, and it's then going to cause excessive wear on not only the diff but also the gearbox housing. Please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. I'll see you in the next episode when we get back on the Black Mosquito, and most importantly, right behind me, the 1330 engine build.